What's up, everybody? Welcome all to the Jerk Monger Show. Hey, everybody, how you doing? I hope everybody's doing okay today. I'm doing my walk and my talk. I've been walking for about 13 seconds, 16, 18 seconds, 19 seconds, 20 seconds. Um, I'm just trying to stay on track. I will be traveling very soon, visit family a little bit up north, and it's going to be an interesting time. Everybody in my family's sick. I'm a little sick. It's the end of the world as I know it. Anyway, the title of my video today is When Did Gender Become a Genre? Good morning, Everborn. Antonio Cardenas, ex-gal, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. When did gender become a genre? Uh, I'm making this video in response, I'm doing this live stream in response to, I saw a video by Eric July, Young Rippa, and articles that I've been reading, commentaries on the reason why Charlie's Angels was not very successful. Good morning, Andrew J. And I guess I just want to talk about that a little bit. Not in a facetious way. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm really want to kind of address some of my thoughts. Good morning, Rodwell. Good morning, Dark Admiral. Thanks for coming with me on my journey. On my journey. I like the band. Real life. Couch Doodles. Good morning, my friend. So I'm looking at this stuff and I'm thinking about why is it that movies like Charlie's Angels, why do they meet less than stellar success? Part of this, before I go any further, let me just say that some of the commentary I have from this is that there's a lot of like hardcore, we got to make as much money as possible. A movie can't be successful anymore unless it makes $1 billion. That's going to be a problem. And that's going to be a problem because we're talking about genres, right? And what a genre is. And, it's a category, very specific category. And it seems like the more successful films or franchises, and really in any entertainment, whether it be in prose or it's in film, comics, maybe. Brian Shearer, what's up, homie? Good morning, Elliot, says Brian Hawkins, and everyone in the chat. Couch Doodles is saying good morning to people. I think, and this is maybe a part of our conversation, I think, because at first I was like, man, I'm reading the comments that Elizabeth Banks made. She's the co-writer, producer, director, and actress in the film Charlie's Angels. And of course, she's got a stake in the game, right? She said in an article, an interview in an Australian paper, prior to the release of the film, prior to box office, that the movie had to succeed because of the stereotype that women action movies aren't successful. I'm paraphrasing. And so I guess what she's trying to do is raise support for an artistic project and to guarantee its success simply based on the gender of the actors and actresses. And so the question is, why is this a problem? And I think there's it's probably true that most. Good morning, Mr. Hawkins. If you said that already. Oh, Brian. All right, so Mr. Eric Hawkins. So I'm saying this because sometimes, how do I go with this here? Oh, a cord's on the floor. Cord that I can't use. What happened to all the birds that left me? So The idea that a movie has to succeed or a project has to succeed because of the person involved in it is one thing. So, for instance, if you're a big fan of a particular director, hey, buddy, if you're a big fan of a particular director or a particular actor, and you like say a Tom Cruise movie, maybe you're one of those Tom Cruise only people, and you'll go check out most Tom Cruise movies. That's cool. Problem is, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's because you really enjoy that guy's performance or the guy's stuff. Good morning, Manfred. How are you? His track record in film. You like the way he acts, whatever. Take a female actress. Let's say, who's one of my favorite female actresses? Kate Beckinsale, for example. This is the only one that's coming to mind. That's because of a conversation I had prior to this. I love Kate Beckinsale. By the way, some people like Tom Cruise movies because he's handsome. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's handsome. People like to watch, they think he's charming. They want to see that. Kevin Hart is funny. I like his brand of humor, right? So then the question is, do you go see it because The Rock is a man? And therefore I watch it because I support it because he's a man? And then if that's not the case, why would I support, which is not, I don't support Dwayne Johnson's movies because he's a man. I like Dwayne Johnson. I like Tom Cruise. I like Kevin Hart because they make me laugh. They get me excited about the story they're in. The movies generally are decent. Kate Beckinsale. Do I see her movies because she's a woman? Well, that's kind of an interesting concept because she's beautiful. But I don't see it because she's beautiful. I see it because, now there's been a bunch of Kate Beckinsale movies I didn't see. There have been some Dwayne Johnson movies I haven't seen. Some Kevin Hart movies I didn't see. And some that I wish I hadn't seen. They're not always that great. Yesterday birds, today dogs. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the reason why we've been talking about this for a while, so I'm just kind of adding a little more spice to the conversation, if you will, a little pepper, a little salt, but not salty. I'm just saying a little more flavor. My point is that in much of this conversation, the idea is that we need to make it. It's the same reason why. Like okay, before I get there. So I don't believe that that's the case. I believe that you should go see a movie because you enjoy the content of the idea of it. Maybe you like the genre. And then if the genre has a particular actor or actress that you enjoy, you might like it even more. So a good example of that, say like a movie like Aliens. I love Aliens. I love scary alien movies. I see Sigourney Weaver. Now, I'll be honest with you. Before I saw Sigourney Weaver in Alien, I saw her in Aliens. Not to mention, I also saw her in Ghostbusters before I saw Aliens. So I already kind of had an idea who she was, but I didn't really think much of her. So when I see Alien, I'm blown away by her performance. But when I first saw it, though, I didn't think it was as good as Aliens because I was really into action movies at the time. She was awesome in that movie. And I remember leaving that theater going, man, she was great. She was this and she was bad. Back then we used to say bad. She was bad, bro. She had the thing. She had the machine, the mech suit. She was kicking that alien's tail, blah, 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 blah. I didn't curse back then. I was a kid. But they want me to believe that doesn't count. And that's kind of what Elizabeth Banks is saying. She's saying it doesn't count because these are parts of franchises. But she started the franchise in that case. An interesting comment she makes, she says that there's a bunch of Spider-Man films. If we have a female-led action franchise, she doesn't have a problem with that. Again, I'm paraphrasing. Again, I don't go see male-led franchises. I go see interesting franchises based on the genre. Tobey Maguire It's still my favorite Peter Parker. But there's a bunch of movies that Tobey Maguire has made that I don't care about. And there have even been some Marvel movies that I haven't seen because I just don't care about it. There's going to be some new stuff that I'm not going to see because I just don't care about it, whether it's male or female or not. What matters is, do I enjoy the content? Do I enjoy the genre? I like superheroes. That doesn't mean I like every superhero movie. It happens that most superheroes, for when I was growing up, happen to be male, but there are females. I am not interested in a Black Widow movie. And if you're afraid of my opinion, that might offend you. But I just don't think that she was an interesting character in the first place in comics. So to make a movie for her, okay, not just because she's a woman. Now I love the actress. What was her name? I can't remember her name for the life of me. Anyway, she was also, a lot of people didn't like it. I liked Ghost in the Shell. I liked her in that. I liked her in that other one where she was Lucy. Lucy I thought was good. Again, I enjoyed it. Was it one of my favorite movies? No. But if they made a second one, I'd probably see it. I enjoyed Species the first time. The rest of them weren't that good. So I stopped watching those. Those also were female-led movies. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. To me, I'm interested in the genre. So the question I have is, when did gender become a genre? Like, do you go see movies because they're male or female? Or do you go see them because they're interesting? Because of the type of movies that you like, the kind of stories that you enjoy? Do you like science fiction? Well, you might like this. Do you like horror? Well, you might like that. It doesn't matter. Now, I was talking to my buddy. We're discussing Alien, for example, that the main character, the hero of the story, we thought was going to be Tom Skerritt, but it wasn't. It was Sigourney Weaver. That was just good writing. That was a good twist. You know, all the heroes, the known people you have in your head, they end up dead or somehow messed up, and the hero turns out the one you least expect. I just think it happened to be a woman in that particular story. Not that it had to be, that it was we subverted your expectations. I mean, it's nothing like a good twist in a story. But when all you're doing is twisting just to ruffle my feathers, if you will, I want a good twist. I want a smart film, smart story. All right. Brian Hawkins says, I support Rock's movies because he's the most electrifying man in all of entertainment. That's true. Eric Hawkins says, I see Salma Hayek movies because she's a woman. I even watch, Selma, says Eric Hawkins. See, I didn't watch Frida because I'm not interested in her as an artist. So it wasn't an interesting idea to me, but I know some people saw it and they liked it. You know, I also think Salma Hayek was a fun actress. Loved her in the Desperado movie. Loved her in what's the one? The vampire one. Dusk Till Dawn. I even loved her in what's the love story she did with the dude from Friends. I love that movie, actually. It was a good comedy. Anyway, great movie. Did Banks assume Captain Marvel's agenda? Did Banks? Did she assume Captain Marvel's? I don't know what that means. She assumed. Maybe. X-Scout says, as a woman, and this is great because I like to hear from my female audiences. As a woman, the movie has to be interesting for me to see it. I don't care about gender. Also, though the whole feminist marketing thing was annoying, and no one asked for this reboot. That's a great point. Who was desperate for this Charlie's Angels reboot? So it's another opportunity for someone with that mentality to take something that they think is knowable. Instead of making a good movie, they try to base it on something that exists already. That, you know, arguably didn't do so well in the first place. And by the way, if they were successful, it was because they had these known actresses. They got the actress from Twilight. She still has that Twilight stink on her. I don't know. I don't find her that interesting. I didn't see those movies. I didn't want to see those movies. And I like vampires, but I didn't want to see that. But that's okay. It's okay for me to not want to do something as much as it is for me to want to do something. But now they're telling us we're supposed to think a certain way. By the way, let me add this. This is another thought I had. This idea of taking gender and forcing it into our conversation, one of the things that bothers me about that, especially when it comes to these movies, they keep acting like, look, Captain Marvel made a bunch of money. And she had this really interesting, weird thing to say, Banks did, about Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. This is what I was going to say earlier. I kind of agree with her on the Captain Marvel thing. That movie would not have been as successful. Or maybe it would have been. But I think they wouldn't have been as successful if it wasn't because of the way that it supposedly fit in the broader Marvel, the MCU movies. The meta story that was going on there. Okay. Wonder Woman, however, those movies were not doing great. And talking about the DCEU movies, they were not doing well. And all of a sudden, here comes this breakout great movie that everyone said was just great. So it wasn't because it was doing so well because it needed the other ones. It didn't even have the other characters in it. I think except at the very end or something like that. I'm just telling you I don't care about that stuff. So here's my other comment. Is it possible that the credit, and this is the downside to this, did they get all the money they're going to get from the Star Wars franchises that have been trying to subvert our expectations, and the Marvel movies that are subverting our expectations? Maybe people are like, okay, fool me once, fool me twice, but not a third time. Maybe that's what it's about. Maybe that's really what it is. Just saying. Warren JB says, show a bad mofo, yo. I don't know what that means. Remember to smash the like button. Thank you, Dark Admiral. All right. Justin McClure says, Banks is foolish. Her IMDb makes her arguments null and silly. Maybe. Scarlett Johansson. That's right. That's her name. That's it. Lucy's ending was dumb. Luc Besson can't finish movies. Luc Besson's. Maybe, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. We'll walk this way, away from the traffic. Warren JB says, as a white male, I have a stringent checklist before I watch a film. Question 1, does it have a white male as the lead? If not, I shun the film and send my form off to the secret patriarch agency. Yeah. Let's see, Jesse says, or even Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, Buffy was cool. Buffy was great. I mean, this is not about I don't want to make a checklist of all, but these were successful stories and they were good. I was interested in Buffy because she was female, actually, because it was cool to see her. It was a genre bend, right? Not a gender bend, a genre bend. She was this like, oh my gosh, Valley Girl against vampires. Great idea. Different. It was different. Not because it was a gender thing, although it did involve gender. Wonder Woman involves gender. And sometimes that could be a tool to kind of trick you into an interesting twist where you think the story's about the hero, the male hero. And it turns out it's the female that wasn't even likable, like an alien. Peter Sharon says, hello. Kronos Sharon says, yep, I'm sci-fi Pete. I also like horror and fantasy if done right. If done right. Now, here's another question for you guys. Because they're it's in a male-dominated Hollywood, and only those movies are allowed to succeed, except for the ones that don't. What about Sky Captain? Didn't succeed. One of my favorite movies. How come they didn't make extra Rocketeers? How come they don't make, what was that other one? There's been a bunch of them, and also because they were bad. Some of them didn't make it around the second time because they just weren't good. So no one's giving a male movie a pass if it's garbage. If it's garbage, it's garbage. It doesn't do as well. The market determines the success based on its financial integrity. Can it withstand a sequel? Do people care? They don't care. Anyway, Evermore says, personally, I'm much more excited about Black Widow than I was about Captain Marvel. I'm not excited about any Marvel movies anymore. I'm curious about the next Doctor Strange. Everything I needed, I've already gotten. We'll see. Rowell says, I enjoyed Lucy. It reminded me of the anime series Elfen Lied. I never saw that. But hey. Peter Sharon says, hit the like button, please, y'all. Cornell Sharon says, it got me into games, engines, and cinema's uses. I don't know what that means. Kronos, I don't understand what you wrote. And morning. Let's see. Papa Kanesu. Is this a miserable case of not owning one's failure? The movie bombed, and she blames her dentist if need be. Well, I mean, again, they only made 2 Charlie's Angels movies the first time. Well, we weren't trilogy driven. And that's another thing. You know, it's like you give your franchise a chance to grow. But see, if it doesn't do well, but it only made 8. Listen, man, maybe it's just that nobody cares about Charlie's Angels. You know, just because you made it doesn't mean people are going to go see it. You know, people want to know, are you a cool person? Do you care about your customers, right? That's what we talk about over here. Well, then in movies, when you have people bashing other movies, then she says, well, you know, not that it was, you know, I'm glad those movies made it, but they only made it because they were tied to male franchises. I'm like, man, I don't know how to tell you, man, but if I see an interesting story, I want to see it. One of my favorite games of all time was Tomb Raider. And I just thought Lara was a cool character. But the movies sucked. They made at least 2 of them, right? I don't think they made a 3rd one. All right, I'm turning around here. Fools Rush In, that's it, Couch Doodles, that's it. Kronos Chiron says, you could look at Hellraiser too. It had female leads too. Loads. A movie do you not need neuter mankind to have strong women? See Stargate SG1. I'm going to assume, Kronos, that you have a problem with your thumbs. But I think I understand what you're trying to say. Warren JB says, I didn't watch Lucy because that stupid 15% of the brain thing. It's like watching a sci-fi film that works off Lamarckian science or something. Yeah, you got to work on your thumb game as well. She was in the grown-up movies too. Grown-up movies, I don't know. Hey, Amar, how are you, Amar? Stargate SG1, same here, says Kronos. What nonsensical things we're discussing today? Later, all. All right, take it easy, Dark Admiral. Kronos says, I can tell you know what is next, from hate speech to harmful speech. Yeah. Okay. Papa Canessa says, if Captain Marvel wasn't between 2 of the biggest movies ever, it would have made Dark Fate numbers at the box office. Maybe even worse, since Terminator is a household name. Possibly. Plus Shazam was way better. Yes, it was. Warren JB says, gonna be honest, ScarJo sounds like an over-the-counter Skinner. That's funny. You can't fix bad writing with bad writing. Sci-fi fantasy is an escape. Says Kronos. Wonder Woman, says Rockwell. Running out of the trenches, taking on enemy fire was really heroic, and it gave me goosebumps when I first watched it. Yes, Rockwell, it was awesome. What a great moment in cinematic history, man. She just killed it. Like, not even Captain America did that for me. Not at all. Wonder Woman pulled it off for me. That was amazing. Yeah, there was nothing as quite as impactful in Cap. Wonder Woman pulled that off for me. How about a movie where no one of the characters has a gender? Amar, we have a topic. We're trying to discuss the topic. If you don't want to discuss the topic, don't discuss. Chrono says, Jerkmonger, the thing that needs worry Hollywood right now is the technology now exists. Every one of us can make a movie or TV show professional enough. The tools are way cheap now. That's true. Lightning Fan says, I like men and they like me because it's because I'm not a psycho hose beast. Okay. I love you, Lightning Fan. Let's see. I think this is all marketing, or should I say bad lazy marketing, says Everborn. They can't say on the one hand that this movie was made for women, then get mad when men don't go out to see it. Yes, that's one of my points, is they market it and they say, and Eric July said that too in his video, that she says in that interview that she wanted to make something that was special for women. So I'm not a woman. So then it turns me off. Not off like I hate it. Off like I'm just not interested. So it's not because I hate women, but far from that. And not because I hate women characters or women action heroes. I love them. They have to meet a certain criteria in the quality of the film too, not just because they showed up. Okay. Chrono says I cut my finger the other day. See, Justin says, I never watched Captain Marvel. Same with Spider-Man 1 and 2. Oh, I love Spider-Man 1 and 2. The first ones, the Raymond ones. But without proper world building, the time spent on character development in your world is really bad writing most times. I don't want a British Spider-Man. Thanks, though. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I don't care about that stuff. And to be honest, I'd rather they just make new characters. Everyone says, I can't speak to how good or bad the movie is. The opening box office disappointment has everything to do with sucky choices, and a weak marketing budget had nothing to do with gender. That's like that movie John Carter. I was talking about that with my brother again. John Carter I loved it. It had a lot of flaws, but I loved it. But it was poorly marketed. I mean, it's just a guy's name. And it could have been a woman's name. It doesn't matter. Actually, though, if it was Princess of Mars, that probably would have been good. That probably would have sold better. But anyway. Jesse G says, Charlie's Angels probably didn't work due to its being an old, worn-out property. Yep, I think so too. More than anything, it would have been the same if they started a ton of Gilligan's Island movies. That's true. Maybe. Justin says if it had Justin, you can't say that stuff. Okay. Mike D'Souza says these movie makers not only inject politics but write bad stories. It's true. Their loss is self-owned. There are plenty of political people who are also storytellers. Why didn't they hire them? Lightning Fest, Elliot, make fun of Kronos for his typing. Also, Elliot, when did gender become a genre? What? Did I spell that wrong? Oh, it says we? Oh, I meant to put when. Oops. Geez, aren't most horror movies female-led anyway? I like horror movies, says Eric Hawkins. I don't care what gender is in the lead role. Yeah, I don't care either. And I think part of this is just to say that's a myth. Or, to be plain, it's a lie. Most of us are not that concerned. I would venture. You know what? I can't say that. I have to stick with the myth concept because I don't have facts. I don't have a. We need to put that in the next, what do you call that? The American Census questionnaire. Do you watch movies because only men characters? Like, you understand how boring that would be? That's boring. If I only watched the movie, look at all the anime that I like. Anime, Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel Alita, Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's ridiculous. Good morning, Cosmeti. How are you? I will be taking my 5-year-old to Sonic though. I don't have small children anymore, so they're older. I don't know if they really want to see Sonic. My son probably will, just out of nostalgia, but he's over 16. And I'll tell him no. Not waste my money on that. But anyway, Crown says, reason that got no marketing is the princess was busted at 16 saying she was 18. And, oh Lord. Elizabeth Banks is just looking for an excuse for a failed movie, says Eric Hawkins. No one wants to see it. It has nothing to do with a female-led movie. No one wants to see it. Now, to be fair, she didn't say that in response to the poor, just as before the movie came out, that she said these things. So she wasn't blaming. She didn't know. She didn't know what was coming. But I'm gonna have to walk a little slower. I've been walking for more than 30 minutes now. But I will say this though. A movie still needs to be good. Cake. I don't care who makes the cake. I don't care if the baker is a male or a female. I just want a good cake. And it better have some nice frosting. And it's going to be frosting to my taste. I'm going to like it what I like. If you make something, so I'm also a Christian. I know that the majority of my audience is not Christian. They may say they're Christian, but the reality is most of us are not. So if I make a movie or a story that's a Christian story, chances are, if it's explicitly Christian, chances are people are going to be like, well, I'm not interested in that sort of movie or that sort of story. But what if it looks good? What if it was written well? Could it still do it? Yeah, probably. It could probably succeed. But I'm already saying to my listeners and my fans and my customers that a bunch of you are not going to be into this. I think that's kind of what happened here in this movie, and it's happening too much. That's what I was saying about their credibility. They're using it all up with stories like Star Wars, and if it didn't work for Star Wars, and by the way, this was a successful movie still. But you got me once, you got me twice. You're not going to get me a third time. So same with the Marvel movies. Once you start changing things over and you start making it about female this, gender this, race this, instead of making it universal. Now the question I can argue is it possible that maybe all my notions, is this what they're arguing? That all of my perceptions are jaded? Or I have white colored glasses? Is that what's going on here? I don't think so. I like to think that I'm pretty objective. At least I try to be. Could it be possible that I'm subjective in some of my opinions? Well, of course, that's what an opinion is. It's subjective thoughts, considerations about any particular subject. But I'm saying that, or objective notions, subjective notions about a particular subject. But I'm just saying that we are trying to be as objective as possible. Let's base it on its merits. Did it pull it off? I heard some very interesting commentary about it. I should say reviews with some spoiler stuff that I won't say here, but they said that some of the editing was poor. Okay, that has something to be. There's something to be said about that. Just like music can wreck a film. That's why I'm loving Mandalorian right now, and I'm loving the music. I went ahead and I got it on my Amazon Prime. The Mandalorian theme is fantastic. Doom, 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 doom. I love that thing. It makes that story better. This goes back to like lettering in a comic book can ruin your comic. So can bad inking ruin pencils. So can bad coloring ruin your whole story. Typos can ruin your story, right? That's just in the comic book. Typos ruin people's perceptions of prose novels too. When I read reviews about a book, they'll often comment that this book was trash because it was written with typos. So if you have that sort of stuff in your movie, and then you're going to be mad because, well, you didn't like it because I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know what to tell you. Stack on top of that, that you told most of the audience that this is a Puerto Rican story. And so if you're not Puerto Rican, you might not get it. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Lightning Fast Jim Riley, that didn't come out right. It looks like just said hell in the middle of a bunch of O's. Love it. To be fair, says Everborn, Banks did take ownership of the failure on Twitter after this interview came out. Okay, I'm not on Twitter. Well, that's too bad. See, this is the problem. You keep talking to newspapers and stuff like that. You said it out loud. I don't need Twitter to comment on this anymore. So no, not going to be fair at all. You shouldn't have said it in the first place. That's my point. Because when he says Wonder Woman did very well, yes. Justin McClure says, I personally believe it was meant to be a bad and not meant to make money. Just make a distraction, nonsensical movie to make new talking points. At Eric Hawkins. Everborn says, by the way, great recent female heroine can be found in Ready or Not. Ready or Not? I don't know what that is. People just need to be more creative, says Amar, and think outside their level of understanding. Jim O'Reilly says, I can neither confirm or deny allegations, but I certainly know the truth. And I would like to refer to counsel, and I'll thank you to stay out of my personal affairs. And then he says, hello. People, Cosmetti says, like well-written characters of any gender or ethnicity. That's right. I don't need to be exactly like someone to like it or identify with them. That's so true. And look what it's done. Look at how much more it separates us. I can't like this movie because it's a black film. I can't like that story because it's a woman's story. I can't enjoy this because it's a white male story. What are we talking about? Why are we building more walls between us? Why don't we enjoy our genuine diversity and just enjoy it for what it is? I mean, I have black friends and white friends and Spanish friends, and I have friends from the city, I have friends from the country and family. The what's great about all this, I got people that live in LA, people that live in New York, people that live in Florida, people that live in Texas. I like hearing what your unique perspective. Just give me your perspective. Just give me what you want to tell me about you. But if all you are is a man, if that's the only thing about you is that you're a man, then yeah, it's not going to be good. If the only thing that's important about you is that you're a woman, if the only thing that matters to you is your genitals, that's not interesting to me. I'm going to need a little bit more than that. How about that? Publix cakes. Don't care for the fluffy frosting. Speaking of Christmas stories, shout out to Bric-a-Brac. There you go, Bric-a-Brac. You can make Christian. Well, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about Bric-a-Brac besides that a lot of people seem to like the campaign. So, Mel Gibson made that Jesus movie. That was intense. Yeah, Justin, you're right. Jim O'Reilly says, "Oh, I love fluffy frosting. It's so fluffy." Warren JB says, "Elliot just walked into a slasher film. Run, Elliot, run." Where are the Rob Roy and 13th Warrior movies? Says Justin McClure. I like 13th Warrior. Was that a man movie? I guess it was a man movie. I don't know. Does a movie celebrate maleness? Is that what that was? Or was it just warriors going into battle? It could have been women. I would have dug that. I don't like groups, says Amar, so I could make a movie about a perspective. Subjectively objective to my objectively subjective views, says Jim. Cornell says, agree, Mandalorian works. Without getting caught up in the putting thing, okay. Oh, is that on Prime? Must look. Yeah, the music is. I want to speak truth. Cornell says, in the 90s, my Irish butt united 150 hacker groups in 68 nations. I'd not be able to have done that if I had played race or religion cards. Ha! Interesting, Kronos. Thank you for that. I subjectively object to my objectively subjective views, says Jim O'Reilly. You kept all these kids out of trouble. I kept all these kids out of trouble. Jim O'Reilly says people just need to enjoy what they enjoy and not need to satisfy their egos by having others agree with them. That's true. That's true. And you know, there's been a lot of great small movies. Like, I don't know how well Lighthouse did. I loved that movie. But maybe it didn't do well in the box office, and that's going to be okay. Hopefully, they didn't spend too much money on it. Hopefully, Charlie's Angels was a cheap movie to make. I don't know. Colonel says, people thought I was female for 15 years because I never said shish about it. Due to nicknames and ignorance of ancient Greek, many thought I was Muslim too. Really? Because many says, please stop talking about cake. I haven't had breakfast yet. Ah, the slice is not a lie. Evermore says, I don't care about race or gender swaps. I care that the characters are and stories are well written. Nick Fury is a great example of a race swap. They never reminded us that, hey, this is a black guy. That's true. That's true. That's why I like Nick Fury in the movies. I know they did it in the comic first, but Nick Fury is just Nick Fury. Yeah. And, you know, and I also like the old Nick Fury too. In the comics, it was a little more weird. But even in the comic, when it was done in Ultimates, it was just done right. They did it in a storyline that was like an alternate universe storyline. You accepted it. It was better than what we had, probably. And we moved on. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Well, guys, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to head back now so I can get to work. There goes that chainsaw again. I got to run. You guys be good. Be safe. God bless you. I will talk to you, hopefully, some more tomorrow. Wait, Mike, this says 3 years ago, I would never have thought about any of this gender promotion stuff in movies. I want to unplug. I want my entertainment back. There you go, brother. I appreciate it. Take care. Elliot says, Jesse G. Run. Later. All right. Y'all be good. Bye.